Mixed dubs. So interesting new partnership of QD and Anna Bright, and they make a solid run in their first go. Although, is that a solid run when you're playing with the second best female in the world?
I mean, you're not expected to beat Ben and Ellie, so they probably did as good as they could.
Okay, that's
Maybe
fair.
they could have won the bronze, but
yeah, they ran into them a little early.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's fair. Yeah, and I did expect them to win the bronze. I was a little surprised.
Yeah, there's conspiracy that Anna let Rachel win so she could get in the top 8 for the race. That's probably not true, but
I don't know. I could see that being very true.
It's a possibility, I don't think they collaborated, talked about it, but maybe Anna subconsciously was like, I gotta let my friend in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
wow, I didn't know that nugget. That's a really good one. So she needed the points from that win to get into the top 8.
Rachel was in 9th. Wow. Jessie was in 8th, but with that bronze, Rachel is currently in 8th now. So Milwaukee will determine.
Stir it up. What do you guys think out in the internet world? Was there collusion there? Is that something that you're excited to talk about? Hit us up in the comments. Let us know. Welcome back to another episode of the Pickle Pulse. I am your host, Brian Green, and today we have young rising star, Mr. Jonathan Truong in the house. I wanted to call you LJ all of a sudden, but then nobody would know.
I mean, probably a lot of the viewers would know.
Yeah. So Jonathan has been grinding in PPA qualifiers this year, winning tons of money balls and big tournaments all around the state of Virginia. Actually, before we even get into like PPA and MLP, which is what we're going to talk about today, tell me just a little bit about your year, man. How's it been going? Have you been having fun? Has it been a grind? Like, what's going on trying to qualify and be a pro player?
Yeah, so obviously I had to finish my junior year of high school. So starting the summer, I've been playing, I think I've played 5 PPAs so far. So, in like a next gen, but I've made 3 main draws. Have had some close round of 64 matches. Haven't gotten a win yet. Mm-hmm. Virginia Beach, me and Colin, CVC.
Dude, you guys played great. I loved it.
Yeah, we played Roscoe and AJ, lost like 9-11, 11-13. So it was a close one. But, it's been fun. The experience is good. Traveling across the country to play, it's a good experience. Yeah, no, man, it's been really fun to watch you too. And I have a feeling 2025 will be a year where you'll get some dubs and move into the qualifiers. How do you go about finding your partners? Is it just like local Virginia guys, or does anyone hit you up from around the country because they see you as a rising star? Yeah, as I've been to more tournaments, people have been asking me to play a lot. I like playing with people I'm familiar with. So like the PPA Bristol, I played with David Beeger. He's from Richmond. Yeah. I know him. I played Virginia Beach, obviously, with Colin. But like for the ones in like Vegas, obviously, not too many people from here are going to travel out there. So it's like, there's some networking. I know some guys, ask them around to see if they can hook me up. And that's usually how partners come about. Nice, man. And have you been training with your sister out in Utah at all? You going out to visit her, or is she just too busy? She's been traveling nonstop, right? I was like out there for like a few weeks over the summer. I hit with her a few times, but yeah, not playing with her too much. Nice. Nice. Well, the interesting thing, and as we really get into kind of what we're going to talk about today, is it seems like breaking in on the men's side of the PPA and MLP is just getting harder and harder and harder because there's so many guys going after it versus the women's side seems to be wide open right now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure for like most PPAs, women's singles and doubles, you can just sign up and you're in the main draw. Like, wow. I know my sister, her Milwaukee first round, I looked up her opponent Stuber. It's like a 4-1 with like a 2% accuracy rating. So oh my gosh. Yeah, and then the men's are like probably like around 40 to 60 teams each tournament trying to qualify. Oh, big time. In every event. It's pretty unbelievable. Yeah. Well, let's break it down here. So the most recent tournament, I mean, we've been grinding on the PPA and MLP for what, like the last 6 weeks or so?
and that it seems like it's been nonstop tournament, weekend after weekend after weekend, right?
Yeah, I think there's been something every week for the past few weeks for at least some players.
So I haven't broken down many of these. It's just like information overload. So what we're going to do is talk about the recency effect. So the most recent one was the Lapiplasty Pickleball World Championships. It was actually the largest pickleball tournament ever, with over 3,500 amateur entrants as well as pro players. Were you down there, Jonathan? I don't know.
I was going to, but something came up last minute, so I didn't play Worlds.
That would have been a good question for me to ask you before the pod, but I'm not very not very thorough. Well, so it seemed like an epic tournament. It had the pickleball street, or whatever they called that, where
The
Pickleball Boulevard.
Something
There you
like
go.
that,
Yeah. They had live music. It seemed like a great event. But there were some really cool new partnerships in the men's dubs side. So we're going to start with men's dubs. We'll go to women's dubs and kind of break down each little thing that we want to talk about here. But on men's dubs, tell me just a little bit about some of the cool new partnerships that you saw and things that were interesting to you.
Yeah, obviously the winners, Hayden and Riley, first-time partnership, undefeated.
They were sick, dude. So fun to watch.
Yeah, that's Riley's first gold since splitting with Matt. So first gold this year in men's doubles.
Been like 2 years, hasn't it? Did he get one last year?
I'm not. I think he might have had one in 2023.
Maybe one. Yeah.
But yeah, this was his first all season, so big win for him. You know, ever since Hayden split up with Callan, he's been playing with like basically everyone.
Yeah.
Getting golds with
everyone.
A lot of people, yeah.
I mean, he's sort of proven, and you said this when you were on the pod last time. It's like Hayden, Gabe Tardio, there's the guys you're watching because they're coming up. And I mean, they're proven that they could potentially be the best in the world next year.
Yeah. I think it's good because they can win with anyone. So it's like no matter who they play with, they'll always do good, which is good for, you know, MLP GMs to look at.
Uh-huh.
I would take them close to top 10 guys in the draft.
Oh yeah,
if I were
100%.
GM, yeah,
100%. And yeah, actually, we'll talk about it a little bit because we're going to break down some MLP too. This is going to be a little bit of a long pod. We're going to try to keep it to like 45 minutes, but we'll see where it goes. There's a lot to talk about. You know, the other interesting new partnership, because I don't think I've ever seen it, is Pablo and Deckel. To your recollection, have they ever played together?
I don't think so.
And
not that I can recall, yeah.
And they made a solid run of it, even though, like, okay, so Pablo has won. He's got a gold this year, didn't he? With no, wait, Hayden. It was either Hayden or Tardio, one of those two.
I know they made the finals in San Clemente, but lost to J.W. Dillon 7-7-7.
Okay, maybe that's what I was remembering.
I don't think he has a gold. He's looking for his first gold this week. So.
Okay, yeah, Federico's got a couple of them after they broke up, which has been interesting. Yeah, with Hayden.
And Gabe, maybe. I don't know.
One of each, the two studs. It's okay. It's okay. The other one that I was really excited about seeing was QD, Kwong, and CJ Klinger. That is a beastly young team.
Yeah, I think that might be like one of my favorite men's doubles pairings.
Well, it really goes, you know, Ben for the last couple of years has been talking about a dominant right-hander with a dominant left-hander getting together. Right. And there it is. You've got two teenagers. Both guys are like your age, right? 18, 17?
I think they're both 18.
Yeah. And playing kind of at the top of their game. And training out of their mind, but just blowing through people. Did you see the match against the Johns brothers?
I did see the match.
Holy cow.
It did look like the Johns were like kind of like, you know, out of it a little bit. I think that Ben, I don't want to say like has like kind of an ego problem or issue with Kwong, because Kwong's backhand dink, it's like it's very, you know, he overexerts a lot of energy to do it.
Oh, he rolls it so hard across, and he's right next to the line over and over again.
Right. And I just don't think Ben like respects it nearly enough as he should. So he's always getting caught, you know, having to take a step back and being late on the ball, which I think which is why Kwong kind of has his number, especially in MLP at least.
Oh yeah.
But you know, that was a fun match to watch. They kind of blew through. I think that was the worst beatdown we've seen for the Johns this year, I think.
It really was. But you know, I'm getting used to watching the Johns lose though at this point. It hasn't been their year.
Right. You know, they still have like 7 or 8 golds, I think, which is the most out of any team.
Okay.
But, you know, yeah, they're definitely not as dominant, but I would still consider them the team to beat, the number one team. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know if I would agree with you on that as a team to beat, but I probably just showing my not love for the Johns brothers.
Yeah.
More so than anything. The other one I wanted to talk about was Matt Wright and Federico. They're teaming up. I haven't seen that before, but I feel like they might have done it once before.
No, they've definitely done it a few times. I know at least San Clemente and I think Atlanta, maybe a few others, but you know, they've always done solid. Oh, also in Vegas. I don't think that they've never made the finals, but they've always made like at least quarters, a few semis.
Okay.
So.
And they got a bronze this go around.
They did,
and I thought that was really good. It's amazing to see. Matt Wright is 47 years old.
47 and still probably one of the best right side guys. You know, he's not afraid to attack whoever's in front of him. He's always speeding up more than at least Fed is.
Yeah.
And he can hang in the hands, so he's fun to watch.
And his shit talk is
probably the biggest chirper on tour right now.
It's like top notch.
Yeah.
Top notch. Always good stuff. And then another team that did fairly well. I think they made quarters, but it was surprising because Travis Rettenmeyer and Zane Navratil. They get together and they do fairly well. Travis hasn't had a great year. Zane is unbelievable in MLP, but really hasn't had a great year on the PPA tour. That was pretty cool to see, and two guys that I like a lot.
Right. I know Zane made the finals with Deckel in like the first Vegas one, but yeah, Travis not too hot this year. Although they did take down Daskew and Tardio, which was a good win.
Yeah,
and then in the quarters they ran into Matt and Fed. And did you see the controversy that there was?
I didn't. No. What happened?
So it was like, I want to say like 10-11 in the third.
I did see, and the game stopped for like 10 minutes over, and they had to call in referees.
Like a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
So Fed went for an overhead, and from the viewer's perspective, it looked like he pushed off, right?
Okay.
I don't think the refs called it, but Zane and Travis challenged it, right?
Okay.
Challenge came back. Challenge was confirmed, so
he did push off the kitchen
line.
He did push off.
Fed and Matt then challenged to like Don Stanley or something. They like, so even though they're like, it was called a footfall by the refs, they double challenge it, like call the head ref out.
Oh my gosh.
And then it got overturned again saying, no, there was no push off. So then there was just like this long thing going on back and forth. Like, how are you going to overrule the ref's challenge? You can't challenge a challenge is challenge.
Yeah, so essentially they challenge it and it gets overturned.
Right.
And then they re-challenge the challenge to bring in another person who then says that the overturn was not correct.
Right.
Which is insane. How does that even happen?
I don't think that should be, I don't think you should be able to challenge a challenge, first of all. And
Agreed.
It did look like he pushed off. There was like a slide of his foot going off the line, so I can see why Fed thought that like he was confident he didn't push off. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was pretty messed up.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a rattlesnake Instagram reel ranting about that in the next few days.
Yeah, look for Tennis Sucks. What a great pod. I'm sure he'll go nuts on it. But yeah, that sounds like a show. And of course, it's got Travis and Zane in it. So that's going to make it even more fun for them to talk about.
Right.
Yeah. So you took the Thunder, but Hayden and Riley win it all. They had an amazing tournament. It was really fun to watch. And I have a feeling we'll probably see some more of that partnership moving forward because of the success.
I think we'll probably see a few more. Yeah. I think Hayden's, I don't think he's going to lock with anyone for 2025. I know he's going to play some with Gabe, but I don't think he's going to like have a set partner. I think he's going to keep jumping around and winning with everyone.
So I'm going to jump ahead before we get into women's dubs because you said something that I heard recently and I find very interesting in pro pickleball is that a lot of the pros are not locking for a year or 6 months with their partners at this point. They're like, look, let's try for a couple of weeks. Let's try for a couple of months and see. What do you think's behind that?
Right. So, I mean, obviously you don't want to lock with someone for the year because if you do bad, then you're just playing a whole year with getting poor results.
That's right.
I know some players quote lock. They say like, yo, we're going to play for the next 6 tournaments. And in the first 1 or 2,
they drop them.
Yeah, they drop because they do bad. So, I mean, I just don't think it's a good idea to lock for a long period of time just in case you guys don't do great. You got to,
You got to change it up.
Yeah, change it up to see if you can do better with someone else.
Well, I agree with that. And unless you have a long-standing history of winning consistently,
right,
it makes no sense. Right. And there's only a handful of teams that have that. And even some of those teams may need to change it up. Like, I would love to see J-Dub and Dylan kind of flip it up and play with some different people this coming year. Yeah.
I think they complement themselves very well, but I think we do need to see a switch up at some point because they're not having the same success as they were in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
But, Ben and Colin, obviously, Ben's got to move on because he's still the best player, but it's not reflecting.
What do you think is up with the attitude? Is it that he just got super paid and he doesn't care anymore? I mean, that seems to be the vibe is like, okay, I'm now worth $4, $5, $6 million and I don't have to want it as much anymore.
I mean, he's still winning mixed every time.
Okay, that's because of Anna Lee.
Right. Well, yeah. And then, the singles field is just getting a little tougher. I don't think he's not trying. I think he's still trying in singles. It's just the players are getting better. Yeah,
singles is crazy. There's some guys coming up that are unbelievable. Well, okay, good stuff. So let's talk a little women's dubs from the Lapiplasty Pickleball World Championships. It was an exciting championship Sunday. Tell me just a little bit about what you saw. I'm not even going to ruin the greatness. I'll let you announce it.
So, obviously, Anna and Rachel swept Annalie and Catherine.
Let's go. Hold
3
on,
games to none.
Second. I never get to use these buttons. Wait. Oh, fail. Where is? Dang it. All right. I'm cutting that out. I have a great applause thing in there somewhere. It's somewhere. Wait. That wasn't it. All right. It's over. I failed.
Okay. So, where were we?
So, Anna and Rachel Rohrabacher win in 3 straight games on Championship Sunday.
Yeah, it just didn't seem close at all.
No.
They kind of dominated through them.
It was insane. I mean, that was one that I had to watch. I missed it going through, but I heard and went back and watched it, and they were dominant.
Right. I think that's becoming a more 50-50 matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Once you see them in the finals, you don't know who's going to win.
Well, they were lighting CP up. Parento.
Right. So
Catherine Parento, for you guys that don't follow.
I personally think that if Annalie wants to get back to, winning over that team every time, she's got to slow it down a bit, dink more, because and obviously Annalie's game is, speeding up, going fast, because she can win out almost every hands battle.
Yeah.
But that's also Anna and Rachel's game, and they're getting better at it. So continuing that fast-paced game, I think Anna and Rachel have the edge over it as of right now.
I think so too, because it seems Catherine isn't as willing and able to stand on the line and just fire away, whereas Rachel and Anna just sort of like, bring it. Let's go.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's what I saw is that, Anna Lee was still doing her thing. She looked really good, but those ladies just seem very unfazed by the whole thing and ripped through them. I mean, I think they won the first 11-4, 11-5, and got down in the second, but came back and won it. And then the third was kind of a blowout again. It was a really cool thing to see, just for the women's game, to see that there's another team that is getting closer, if not really close, to the top squad of ALW and Catherine.
Right. Well, I think that the Anna and Rachel versus Annalie and Catherine, it's coming close to a 50-50 matchup. I still think Annalie and Catherine are like the number 1 team by far. Because you see Anna and Rachel having like close games in the third with these other teams like Tyra and Elise.
Yep.
Credit to Tyra and Elise. They're a great team, super defensive. But I just don't think that if Annalie and Catherine played them, the score would be nearly as close.
Yeah.
Obviously we had Benata and Ansbury taking out Rachel and Anna earlier in the year. And I just don't see that ever happening to Annalie and Catherine.
I can't believe that happened.
That was huge. I think that's the biggest upset in pickleball.
It really was. And that I bet they walked on the court just completely underestimate, looking at these 2 older women.
Right.
And like no names for the most part. And they just slept on them and got lit up.
Yeah, that was fun to see.
Yeah. Really cool for Pickleball Mama. Shout out to her. All right. And then my question, I guess you talked a little on Tyra and Elise. They got the bronze. Tyra, I think, is solidified herself as really close to a top 5 female, if not a top 5 female.
For the women's game,
Yeah.
I would for sure top 10. I don't know if I'd put her top 5 just yet.
Yeah, she's getting close. I think
Just
creeping towards it.
Right. I think it's partially it's her play style with Elise. They just complement each other so well. They can dig out every ball.
Did you see Elise's dive rolling into and slamming her head against the boards on the side? It was the most vicious dive.
Don't think I've seen that.
Oh
but
my
that
gosh!
Sounds in character. So.
Yeah, just keep watching Instagram. I'm sure you'll see it because I couldn't believe she got up as fast as she did. She hit the sideboard so hard with her head that it was unbelievable, and just popped right up and was like, "Let's go."
Yeah, we've probably seen that before somewhere. So.
Yeah, probably so. But yeah, Tyra, I think her game is top notch. I think we're going to see and talk about her a lot in 2025. Are there any other ladies that we should be talking about? That I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but it seems like the gap in the women's world is there's like the top 10 girls and then everyone else who just gets slaughtered by them.
I don't think so. You know, there's some up and comers I can only think of one, Kate Fahey. She's very new to the scene, but she's came on in singles. I think she's already top 3.
Yeah.
Doubles, she's getting there. She hasn't had elite partners yet, so obviously she's not gonna be in the finals for doubles, but I think she's like one of the players who could possibly break out to the top 10, top 15-ish in the next few months at least.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a good pull. All right, so we'll just go on past women's dubs. So that was your women's dubs. Mixed dubs. So interesting new partnership of QD and Anna Bright, and they make a solid run in their first go. Although, is that a solid run when you're playing with the second best female in the world?
I mean, you're not expected to beat Ben and Elise, so they probably did as good as they could.
Okay, that's
Maybe
fair.
they could have won the bronze, but
yeah, they ran into them a little early.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's fair. Yeah, and I did expect them to win the bronze. I was a little surprised.
Yeah, there's conspiracy that Anna let Rachel win so she could get in the top 8 for the race. That's probably not true, but
I don't know. I could see that being very true.
It's a possibility, you know. I don't think they collaborated, talked about it, but maybe Anna subconsciously was like, I gotta let my friend in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
wow, I didn't know that nugget. That's a really good one. So she needed the points from that win to get into the top 8.
Rachel was in 9th. Jessie was in 8th, but with that bronze, Rachel is currently in 8th now. So Milwaukee will determine.
Stir it up. What do you guys think out in the internet world? Was there collusion there? Is that something that you're excited to talk about? Hit us up in the comments. Let us know. All right. And then Alshon, Ben and ALW, they win again. But Ben's not the dominant guy is kind of the note that I put down there, and that ALW is carrying him. And the question comes again, like, how far down the men's totem pole could she go before she loses? Because she plays with Will Howells and wins most of her matches.
Right.
I mean, it's wow.
Honestly, maybe top 5 guys around. Like, even though she's winning with Will Howells, I'm pretty sure they mostly go up against like the B team of most of the teams. They're always giving Zayn and Mari have a losing streak, but they're always playing, the stronger team. I'm pretty sure. So
I could see the strategy behind that.
Because I think it's Annalie guaranteed 2 wins.
Yep.
Win the Dream Breaker. I think that's what they're going for. So
okay.
I think obviously they're winning because Annalie is the best, but I think it helps that Ben will also not miss, and he's also the best. Yeah. So I don't think in the mixed field, no one's going to touch them anytime soon. If they stay together next year, I will say that, they're still going to be the top dog, those two together. But I'm hoping to see some creep up. And Christian Alshon is one of the guys that I think has the ability to really give them a run for their money. Yeah. I know he's played them a lot this year in like round of 16 quarterfinals. And I know he has a tendency to take the first game always and then just can't maintain the same level of play throughout, or Annalie and Ben step it up. Yeah, but he's always taking them to 3, so he's there.
Well, he's explosive. He's big. He's training. He wants it. I think it really comes down to finding the right partner. And, he played with Etta Wright, got bronze this past weekend.
Right.
She is really solid. Be interesting to see where it goes next year. And then the last little note that I threw up is J-Dub and Georgia are losing to Fed. Lose to Fed and Rohrabacher. And that I found very interesting. Do you think that's a partnership that should consider changing it up a little bit?
I know they've had some upsets this year. Like they've lost like Gabe and Jesse. I think, in my personal opinion, J-Dub and Georgia only do as good as they do because they're playing together. Like if they were to split, and obviously if they're not partnering with Ben or Annalie,
yeah, you think it would go worse?
I don't think I don't think they would be a consistent, semis or like a top 3 seeded team.
So I have heard that J-Dub likes to play with people he's familiar with. Like if you did what Hayden does and plays with a bunch of different people, it wouldn't go as well for him.
Partially that, but I think it's also just the play style. J-Dub in mixed, he's not like Alshon. He's not taking 80, 70% of the court. He's kind of staying 50%, maybe 60. Mm-hmm. And then Georgia is being a very heavily aggressive player.
Okay.
And then J-Dub can always clean up the hands because that's his game.
Yep.
But I think them together is why they're doing so good. Like we've seen J-Dub in previous MLPs with other teammates. He doesn't do as good. And same with Georgia, I want to say.
Yeah.
So
it's probably good they threw them together on the Flash this year. And,
yes.
That helped tremendously.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was very lucky for the guy who drafted it. I don't know who drafted for Dallas Flash.
I think partially is we don't know how J-Dub fell all the way down to like 12. That's pretty crazy. That helped him get Georgia right after. But
especially noting that Jack Sock was taken at the 6th overall pick. I mean, that's insane. New York, I get the name. You want the name and the marketability, but that's why they're no longer in it. Spoiler alert. I just ruined it for you guys if you didn't see it. Women's singles, not a ton to talk about here. ALW is dominant, but Kate Fahey is on the rise, as you said. You think that she's a top 3 singles player now at this point?
Definitely top 5. I think you could make the argument for top 3. I mean, she's made close to every final in the tournament she's played. So
that's right.
And then a few golds. So I think she's top 3 in my
I don't know if I would argue against that. I think 3 to 5 is probably a good spot to put. And the funny thing is I haven't been watching enough of the women's singles to even throw out other names that I would put as credible. I know CP is still a top singles player. She seems to make it.
I wouldn't say that.
But she seems to make it far in most tournaments, right?
Like quarterfinals, maybe.
Oh.
She has a few bronzes. I don't think she's ever made Sunday this year.
Oh, wow.
Even being the 2 seed. So she's never, this past one she was the 4, but I think that's the first time she wasn't the 2. And I don't think she's made a finals.
So let's just break it down real quick. Help me with this. The women's singles, would it be ALW Paris Todd in the mix for top 5?
I would put Brooke Buckner at 2.
Okay.
She has a few golds. She's a top seeded. She's proven she's definitely top 5.
Yeah.
I would put her 2. I would put 3 Kate. 4 to 5 is like a toss-up. There's Leia, who's obviously a good player, but she can be a little streaky.
Yeah.
Paris always seems to do good against the top players.
Yeah.
There's Salome, who doesn't play too much, but she's
in there when she's
she could be talked about for top 5. She's the only person to beat Annalie this year in singles.
Wow. Okay. I think that's good. You did way better than I would have done there.
Something like that, yeah.
But the interesting thing is you're not hearing a lot of new names in there other than Kate Fahey. I guess Brooke Buckner has made a run this year and done really well, but that was only because she was out for having kids the year before.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't think you'll see any players come on the scene and even make consistent quarterfinals. So
yeah. And there's a big gap. I'm hoping next year that in the women's side of the game, the gap kind of narrows a little bit, but there's a long ways to go there still.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And then men's singles, just OMG, Michael Lloyd. Michael Lloyd. Who is Michael Lloyd?
Just this guy from Arizona who plays pickleball.
Nailed it. It's a guy from Arizona.
I mean, obviously he's a signed player. You know, he's played pickleball, pro pickleball for the past 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Recently signed on the Frisco Pandas for Challenger. But singles, he's never like been known for singles really.
No, I mean, came out of nowhere. I am a pickleball geek, I would consider it, and I pay attention a lot and had no clue who this guy was before the tournament. And he made the most outrageous run I have ever seen. And is this the best run in PPA history?
It might be.
I mean, he took down Ben. He took down Kwangdong, QD. Who else did he take down? Oh, and J-Dub.
Right. I know the tournament before in Vegas, he actually made the semis, in which I think there were withdrawals, but he lost to Fed like 8-9 in the bronze.
That's pretty good against Fed.
That was already a crazy run, and then he makes the finals here. Early in the year in PPA Red Rock, he lost to Jack Sock 11-0, 11-0.
Wow.
And there were like, memes about it. So it's quite the 180.
I actually remember that meme. So that was Michael Lloyd's first intro into fame is the 11-0, 11-0.
Yeah. So
the double pickle.
Not sure where this such high level came from, but I think if we got to see him a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But if he can do that 1 or 2 more times in the next 2 or 4 tournaments, I think he can be talked about as a top singles guy.
Yeah. I mean, look, consistency is key. And in the singles world, in my opinion, it's the most exciting event to watch, men's singles, in that the guys are hyper athletic. It is amazing how fast and explosive that they can get to the balls and how hard they hit it. I mean, it's just awesome to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I'm watching these guys, and I'm not sure if I could even take a point off of them.
Oh, I know I can't. So.
Yeah.
No, I can't. So, yeah, I mean, if you can do consistently in men's singles, then you are a beast, an athletic beast, at least that.
Yeah,
doubles
definitely.
is a little more strategic and thoughtful, which I love about it. All right, so that's your men's singles, and that is the Lapiplasty World Championships. Any final closing thoughts on that, or are we good, bro?
So Kwong made 3 semifinals. I thought he was going to go for triple gold. He had a top 2 women's partner for mix.
Mm-hmm.
Him and CJ, they were playing Deco and Pablo in the semis. Extremely winnable match for them. And then singles, he just ran into the Michael Lloyd, so not much he could do there.
No.
And unfortunately, he withdrew from singles, lost both bronzes, so not the greatest end to a tournament, but 3 semis is good. I think that's the highlight of the tournament for me, at least.
Yeah. So QD, he's been on the radar, but I really think he has solidified himself to be on the radar as one of the best players in pickleball next year.
I think he's the most improved player this year.
For sure.
Especially for doubles.
And that's crazy to say because you got guys like Hayden and Gabe Tardio who are also highly improved. The
difference is Kwong came from a qualifier level in like January. He wasn't on any MLP team. And then he gets put to a premier team, and now he has a gold medal. He's a few medals and bronzes and stuff. So
yeah, I think
we got to give most improved player to him.
I like it. I like it. That's a good call. And the funny thing is when you're watching the streams out there, they are always clipping over to his dad.
Yeah.
And like his dad doesn't smile. He had a great shot and they're like, I think I saw a smile there. Yeah. Maybe. How does your dad handle it when he's watching you and your qualifiers and your events?
I think he's more laid back. He's not as serious, He'll clap if I have a good point.
That's good.
Yeah, but
John's the man, dude.
Yeah.
I love your dad. And you guys played a little Moneyball last week together. How'd that go at CF?
Played the Chestnut Moneyball. First time playing with him in like a year, I think. We played I want to say around 10 Frankies.
Okay.
Never got a gold. I split with him, and I've only won since. So then, running it back with him, we lost one game in the round robin, so we made the winner bracket, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We beat Ryan Kane and Ben Winger.
Yes. The hefty lefty.
And then we lost to Sarah and Colin 14-16, something like that. and then we lost to Tyler and Doc Ross like 9-11 or like 10-12, something like that. So
wow. Okay.
yeah, wasn't the greatest, but you know.
Doc Ross, man, he can be pretty consistent out there. He's not going to wow you with amazing shots, but he'll make a lot of balls. Shout out to Ross. What's up, brother? All right, MLP. So very briefly, because we're only at 35 minutes. We've done good. Okay, so MLP. We just had. Do we call that the semifinals? Is that kind of what it was?
I think it was the quarters.
That was the quarters?
Yeah.
Okay. But, well, now we're down to 4 teams at the end, so it's basically the.
Now we're in the semis.
There, you're right. You're right. Quarters, semis.
Yeah.
I was getting ahead of myself. Typical. So DC played the Ranchers. DC was one of my picks to be a top contender, and I think it was still a good pick. I just think they underperformed grossly, and one person in particular on the team did. Interested to hear your take on DC Pickleball team.
So after midseason tournament, I had them winning the whole thing in the final. I was like, this team's gonna win it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
even after the Fives won the midseason,
right?
Okay.
James Ignatowicz has not been playing his greatest pickleball lately.
Nailed it.
I mean, PPAs, MLP, it doesn't really matter. He obviously has not been playing like his draft pick. You know, I think he was 7, maybe.
Yeah, that's
he was top 10.
Top 10 for sure.
He wasn't amazing, but I also think that the Ranchers had a very good plan for women's doubles. I don't know if you watched I watched every.
I don't think I saw every match. I watched a bunch of it, but the question is, do I remember what I watched? So no, tell me about it.
So. Interesting enough, they were targeting Rachel at the kitchen line. It was Tina and Rachel, the backhand dink.
Okay.
Tina has a heavy slice, Rachel has the heavy top spin.
Mm-hmm.
But the Ranchers had Rachel's number. Like, Rachel's probably seeing, I want to say, 80% of the balls, and they were winning a lot of the points. So I think the Ranchers won women's the first 2 times. I think DC finally got it the 3rd time, but was too late there.
The other thing I saw was Vivian Glossman seemed like she was having a hard time handling the moment, if that makes sense. A lot of nerves, a lot of awkward missed shots. She was acting like me, where she was talking to herself and getting mad a lot. Did you notice that, or am I making that up in my head? Because I feel like I saw a lot of that.
I know she's always talking to herself. She does that when she misses a ball, when she makes a good point. That's her thing. I don't think she gets too upset when she plays. She's pretty laid back. Women's, I thought she played solid, you know.
I think it was mostly in mixed, where she felt like she let it down a tad bit.
Yeah, they played Kwong and Tina all 3 times, right?
Yeah. And it seems like she was just making a lot of bad mistakes. But regardless, she's going to be the drop on the team, I would imagine, because every team's got to drop one at the end of the season.
I think it's between her and James, because James he's expensive to keep.
That's a good call.
He's definitely not performing for what he's worth.
Yeah, but if you drop James, what is your backup? Seems really like down the totem pole.
It's got to see what's on the market, but you know, they could drop both. They could drop Gloss, but I think Declan and Rachel are for sure safe. Yeah, they're both playing great pickleball.
Deckel is unbelievable, and he played really solid, and you know, I would agree that Jimmy, as much as I love him, he's got a great attitude and a fun guy. Every time I've met him, he's been really good. So no beef towards him at all. It just, he didn't seem to play very well at the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so the other match that was out there was the Dallas Flash versus the New York Hustlers. Dallas actually got to pick who they wanted to play, and they chose New York, even though they had lost to them the last match that they played, was what I heard. They had lost to them previously at one of the MLPs.
Probably.
Yeah. So
I'm not too sure, but
I thought it was a solid pick because, I mean, you got Jack Sock, and
I would rather play the Hustlers over the DC
all day.
I would think, yeah.
All day, yeah. Or even having to deal with J-Dub and the Ranchers.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, the Shock, not J-Dub and the Ranchers, Alshon and the Ranchers. There we go.
Yeah.
Let's get it right, Brian. So... no. That the Dallas Flash, they played. I think it was just straight games. Pretty much.
They lost on the first day, actually.
Okay.
So DC and Hustlers, they both won their first games and then went 0-2 on the next day. First day, think J-Dub Augie won. There's Jackie and Leia won the women's. And then, so Tyra and Augie actually beat Jackie and CJ, which I would say is an upset.
That's definitely an upset.
Jackie and CJ I would consider them the A team on the Hustlers.
For sure.
And Tyra and Augie don't have the best record this season, but they pulled that out. So I was like, all right, well, it's probably going to be wraps. But Leia and Jack Sock destroyed J-Dub in Georgia. I think it was like 25, I want to say 13.
Wow.
Something like that.
They just came out really soft in that first match. Holy cow.
It was like a blowout. And then they came out in the Dream Breaker and won it. But
I think the big issue with the Hustlers is exactly what you just said there. And that if CJ and Jackie are the top dogs, your number 6 pick overall isn't even your best mixed guy.
Right.
Is Jack Sock going to be with the Hustlers again next year?
I hope not, because I'm a Hustlers fan. I honestly think if they got a real number 6 pick, they would be a top 2 team.
Yeah.
Because they made the playoffs with Jack Sock. No offense, but he is the lowest rated premier player, like his record and everything.
It was really bad, yeah.
He's very streaky. You know, he can be extremely good, but I don't think that's the case for at least 50% of the matches.
No, I think you're right on, because I remember at the beginning of the year, he got some really good results early on and some PPAs, and I said, man, is Jack Sock going to really come on and be a top player?
Yeah,
but then it faded as fast as it started.
Yeah, in DC, they went 6-0, and then nothing too amazing since, but...
If they dropped Jack Sock and picked up James Ignatowicz, would you be happy about that?
That's what I was thinking about, them swapping their guys. I think DC gets worse with Jack Sock, and I think the Hustlers have potential to get better, because I know James played with Leia on the 5s in the first season of MLP in 2023. They've played together. James is actually playing with CJ in Milwaukee, so, you know.
I didn't know that.
Maybe they're already planning ahead.
Okay.
See what's going on there. But yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. I would like that as a Hustlers fan, not as a DC fan.
Okay. Well, the other thing that we have to take into consideration, too, is I believe 4 of the Challenger teams are coming up to Premier next year.
Right. And
as well. And so
they'll be bidding.
They'll be bidding against those guys as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything shakes up coming into the new year. But last little bit on the MLP, we now have the stage set. We've got 4 teams left. The 5s are out there. The St. Louis Shock, the Dallas Flash, and the Texas Ranchers are our top 4 teams. Who walks away with the dub? Now that we know who those teams are, DC was your original pick.
Yeah. I mean, on paper, you have to give it to the 5s because they came in as the 1 seed. They have the potential to beat any team. I mean, all the teams do. So yeah, I think the 5s are playing the Ranchers. Shock's playing Dallas.
Yep.
I think if the Shock plays at their fullest potential, they could potentially take it. Obviously, they have Hayden and Gabe, 2 of the top guys. I think they're by far better than Zane and Will.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to beat Annalie, and Mari is a very good offensive player.
Well, when you're playing with Annalie, too, it gives you that extra level of confidence that lets you hit the shots that you want to hit, and that's something I've learned. I'm really surprised that your pick of the 5s, though, because I thought for sure you were going to say the Shock, because that's your boys.
I don't want the 5s to win, but I think just on paper, I feel like they're the team that's going to win.
Yeah, so if you had to bet on it, you're taking the 5s.
If I had to put money in it, I would bet the 5s. I want the Rangers to win. Big fan of Kwong. But I don't know if they can take down the 5s. And then I think the Shock definitely have the best chance to pull it off.
All right. And so my take on this is I'm going with the Shock.
Okay.
And the reason being is I think that Anna Bright is on fire right now, and she runs that squad. Secondly, your boys Hayden and Gabe are amazing players, and I think that if they show up, they can win that day. And I'm sure you believe that as well. You're just picking the 5s. But I'll throw it out here on the pod for everybody. So no monetary things, but you want to put a little wager of a couple of lessons for your boy here? Where are you still going to take the 5s versus the shock, Jonathan? Because I could use a backhand lesson or two.
I think I'm going to take the 5s. I just think Annalie will go 2-0, and then they both have extremely good Dreambreaker lineups, so it's a toss-up, but I think I'm going to have to take the 5s.
Here we go. So I'm taking the shock. If the shock wins it, I get a backhand lesson from the big dog. There we go.
Okay.
He's so excited about that. Can you tell? Not at all. All right. And then the PPA championships. Last thing before we get off, and we're going to close it up real tight. Top 8 guys, top 8 girls qualify for singles. And then the top 16 guys and girls qualify for doubles and mixed.
Yeah. I think the singles for men's is set. I think there's already a top 8. Women's singles, there is a extremely close race between, I think it's Mary, Paris, and someone else. I don't know, but they're fighting for that 8th spot.
Okay.
I know Mary was in the top 8 all year, but after World, she just fell to, I think, 9.
But I think the funny thing is they get in, doesn't really matter. They're going to get smoked anyway. At this point, they've proven there's
They're
only
not going to
3.
beat Annalie and Kate, yeah.
Yeah, there's only 3 or 4 people who could possibly win.
Right.
And then for gender doubles, mixed doubles, things out there, any surprising people making it at this point? I've done no research. I'm expecting you to know it all, Jonathan.
So Thomas Wilson is he's in the top for both, but obviously I don't think he's going to be able to.
He still has enough points at this point. He's barely played this year.
Him and Viv were a top 3 team when they were active.
I hope he's okay, by the way. I shout out to his family, to people of just like, I don't know what's going on there, but I can't imagine it's good, as young and healthy as he is.
I've heard from some people that he might be back with soonish.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to be back in time for the championships. I think James Ignatovich is currently in 17th for men's doubles. So I think, that would be, he would make it, but there are 2 close guys behind him. I think Zane and Tyler Leung. Okay. They're looking to sneak in there.
That'll be interesting. So all those 3 guys are vying for a spot.
Yeah. I'm not too sure about the woman's side. I can't imagine it's that close, though, because there's only like a certain good amount of teams for women's doubles. Yeah.
I just find that, like, I think it's interesting that they're going to have kind of an end of season this year where they pair it kind of like NASCAR, where you have the top 12 drivers that get to go into the race and be around. And so you've got the top people, and it's going to mean something. The interesting thing is that I think there's really only, like, mixed is up for grabs. Not at all. So we know who's going to win mixed. If Ben and ALW lose, that would be a huge upset.
I know last year they lost matches in pool play. James and Anna actually beat them in the pool play. Yeah. But then James and Anna actually didn't even end up making it out of the pool, even having beaten them. And then Ben and Anna only won. So
that's pretty funny. That's pickleball for you.
Yeah.
And men's singles, I think it could be wide open. You never know who's going to win in men's singles at this point.
I mean, you have to give it to Fed, but if he runs into Ben, then I think Ben, I say Ben confidently will beat Fed. Yeah. But then anyone can beat Ben. So that's right. That's how the singles side is looking. Fed will beat anyone but Ben, and then Ben won't lose to Fed, but will lose to basically anyone.
Yeah, so, and I mean, there's guys out there like Connor Garnett who can make a run at it and just win the whole thing too. Sure, yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable how wide open the men's singles game is. Men's doubles, I feel like the same thing. Ben and Colin are the favorite for sure, but there's a lot of other teams vying for that.
I honestly think whoever takes Hayden is going to win it.
Wow. Early call. I like it.
Ben will choose Colin. I don't know who the 2 is. I think our Jada will pick Dylan.
Is there a chance that Ben's not going to be the number 1 pick? He wouldn't even get to choose Hayden if the number 1 grabs Hayden. Who's number 1 in men's dubs right now?
I think it's Colin Johns. So
Colin is the number 1 men's dubs?
At least before Worlds it was.
Okay.
And I think Jada and Dylan are the only ones who are close to picking them, and they didn't do great either. So okay, I think it will be Ben and Colin, Jada and Dylan for the first 2 teams out. Yep. I don't know who's left. I think it might be Fed there,
Okay.
And I think if he takes Hayden, I think they can take it.
I like that. Actually, I think he'd be not smart to not pick him at this point.
Yeah.
And then like is Diescu, is he going to make it?
Yeah. Diescu and Gabe.
So that'll be a Studley team that could win the whole thing too.
Yeah, I don't know if they're like one of them is high enough to be able to pick the other one, but I know they're both top 16, but I don't know if they'll be able to play with each other. But that could be a very good team as well.
I love it, man. I love it. And then in women's and gender, we know who's going to win that as well. I mean,
well, women's
there's two teams that could win.
It's going to be two teams. I don't think anyone else is close.
Yeah, agreed. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, I really appreciate you taking some time to come in and talk some pickle with me this morning, dude. I know you're busy. And, we at the Pickle Pulse here are rooting heavily for your 2025 season.
Appreciate it.
Are you ramping up your tournament schedule next year?
I think so, yeah. I'm playing Daytona later this year, and then the next gen in December. I think that's it for the year. But 2025, I'm trying to get a pretty full schedule, maybe 2 tournaments a month, PPA or APP, something like that. At least for the first 6 or 7 months. We'll see how it goes.
That's good stuff, man. I'm rooting for you, and also rooting for you in all your sponsorship look and searching, and
appreciate it.
Hopefully you can find good clothing that wants you to wear your stuff. Yeah. Killer paddles. I know you've been playing with Gamma for a while. They're a great company out there.
Yeah.
Yep. And so just good luck to you in the future, man.
Thank you.
And for all you guys that made it this far, we really appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed the content. Small channel that's still growing. So please like, subscribe, make a comment. Love to hear from all of you, and we'll see you next time. Until, I would say another week or so. We'll see you on the courts. Peace.